Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going to talk about something called Process Safety Management. It's this incredibly important system that works behind the scenes in a lot of high-stakes industries. Think of it as a framework built not just to manage risk, but to actually prevent major disasters before they even have a chance to happen. So let's dive in.
So this is the big question, right? How do we stop those massive industrial disasters we sometimes hear about? I mean, when you're working with incredibly powerful chemicals and really complex processes, how do you build a shield that's strong enough to protect your people, the community, and the environment? Well, the answer lies in having a really disciplined, proactive system.
Okay, so before we can really get into the solution, we've got to get super clear on the problem. So let's kick things off by defining the exact kind of event that Process Safety Management, or PSM for short, is designed to stop.
This right here, this is the big one. It's called loss of containment, or LOC. This is when a hazardous chemical gets out of the pipe or the tank or whatever container it's supposed to be in. And we're not talking about a small drip, we're talking about an uncontrolled release that can lead to absolutely devastating consequences. This is the one event we are trying to prevent, above all else.
So what kind of stuff are we dealing with here? Well, they're called highly hazardous chemicals, or HHCs, and they come in a few different flavors. You've got combustible dusts, which can literally explode. You have corrosives that can eat through metal and skin. You have flammable liquids that can ignite easily. And of course, toxic chemicals that are incredibly harmful to people. Each one is a serious danger in its own unique way.
All right, so now that we know the threat, a hazardous chemical getting out where it shouldn't be, let's take a look at the comprehensive defense system that's built to stop it from happening.
And here it is, Process Safety Management. It's a formal, documented, and risk-based program. And its number one goal, its whole reason for being, is to prevent the loss of containment of those HHCs we just talked about. It's not just a binder of rules on a shelf. It's a whole management system laser-focused on that one critical outcome.
So how does this thing actually work in the real world? Well, a really strong PSM program is built on a few key pillars, and they all work together to create layers of protection. Let's break down what that looks like in practice.
First up, the absolute foundation, understanding the hazards. It's pretty simple, really. You can't control what you don't understand. So the very first step of PSM is a deep, systematic dive into everything that could possibly go wrong.
And the main tool for that is something called a process hazard analysis, or a PHA. Basically, you get a team of experts in a room and they ask these three simple but really powerful questions. First, what can go wrong? That helps identify all the potential failures. Second, how bad can it be? That looks at the consequences. And third, how often might it happen? That helps you figure out the likelihood. Answering those three questions is how you define your risk.
Okay, so once you know what your hazards are, the next logical step is to put controls in place to manage them. And that's our second pillar, controlling the process. This is all about making sure things run exactly as they're designed to every single day through a combination of people and equipment.
A huge part of that control comes down to having crystal clear instructions. These are your standard operating procedures, or SOPs. Think of them as the detailed, step-by-step playbooks for running the process safely. They cover the whole shebang: startup, normal operations, shutdown, you name it. It's all about consistency and preventing mistakes.
But, it's not just about the procedures and the paperwork. It's also about the actual physical hardware. And that's where mechanical integrity comes in. This is the program that makes sure all your critical equipment, your pumps, your vessels, your safety systems, is properly inspected, tested, and maintained so that it's always fit for service.
All right, our third pillar is a really, really important one, managing change. This is so critical because you'd be amazed how many industrial accidents happen simply because something changed. Even a tiny, seemingly harmless tweak can introduce a huge new risk if you don't manage it properly.
And to handle that, we have a process called Management of Change, or MOC. It's basically a formal system that acts like a big stop sign. Before any change is made, it forces everyone to pause and ask, have we fully thought through all the safety impacts here? It makes sure every single modification gets a thorough review so it doesn't create some new, unexpected danger.
Look, you can have the most perfect system in the world on paper, but it means absolutely nothing without the right people to make it work. This is where we focus on the human element, because that's the real engine that makes the entire PSM program run.
Seriously, a PSM program is only as strong as the people running it. That's why top-notch training is completely non-negotiable. Everybody involved, from operators to maintenance folks, even outside contractors, has to be trained on the specific hazards and their exact role in controlling them, both during normal times and if an emergency ever hits. So let's bring this all together for our final section. It is so important to understand that PSM is not a project that you just finish. It's not a checkbox you tick off. It's a living, breathing system that has to be constantly learning and evolving. And I think this quote just nails the whole idea. It's all about creating a perpetual cycle. You identify the hazards, you evaluate the risks, you put controls in place, and then you start all over again. Because things are always changing. Equipment gets older, people change, and we're always learning new things. A truly strong PSM system is designed to police itself and to constantly get better. You have regular audits to make sure you're actually following your own rules. You have reviews to see if those rules are even working. And, critically, you investigate every incident and even the near misses to learn those priceless lessons that prevent it from happening again.
And really, that's what it all boils down to. At its very core, process safety management is about a fundamental shift in mindset. It's the difference between being reactive, waiting for accidents to happen and then cleaning up the mess, and being proactive by building a disciplined system designed to stop them from ever happening at all. So which approach defines your culture?
This overview of process safety management was brought to you by Consult Safety and Engineering. We really hope you found it useful.